I love being paranoid, always expecting something bad to happen or a bad situation to get worse. That's why I've decided to start stockpiling and learning tips and tricks for the inevitable zombie apocalypse. And what better medium to look at than video games? I already know the best defense against zombies is botany thanks to Plants vs. Zombies, so in theory, I shouldn't need to learn anything more. However, being the paranoid bitch that I am, I need to learn how to handle myself if zombies break through my botanical defense in the possible zombie apocalypse that may or may not happen in the possible far or near future. Oh, hell yeah! Now I just need to play The Last of Us to see what tricks I can learn to help me in the possible, improbable, zombie outbreak.
The Last of Us was initially released as a last hurrah for the PS3 on June 14th, 2013, mere months before the launch of the PS4. Developed by Naughty Dog, it really helped the sales of the PS3, and it's likely a reason why the PS3 just barely beat out the Xbox 360 in lifetime sales. The Naughty Dog then released a 3-hour DLC in February of the following year, and on July 29th, 2014, The Last of Us Remastered for the PS4 hit North American shelves. For this review, we're going to be looking at the remastered version, mostly because I don't own 1. The PS3 version of The Last of Us, 2. A PS3, and 3. The money necessary to pay for a PS3. In The Last of Us, you play as Joel for most of the game. Joel is a southern guy who is probably like 50 or something, but looks 70 at least. Probably due to the fact that the world is a big pile of shit and stress and has been for 20 years. Initially starting up the game, you play as Joel's daughter, Sarah, on the day of the outbreak.
Oh, that's who the other character on the box is.
She fucking dies.
Naughty Dog, you bitch!
Flashing forward to the present, the world is actually not doing terrible for what it's worth. There's still a lot of people left in the world who haven't been infected. Granted, most of them still want to kill you, but hey, at least it's not all zombies. The world is really well built. It feels lived in and accurate to what a massive apocalypse would do. Cars have broken down, buildings have collapsed, and society seems beyond repair. I also really like Naughty Dog's decision to make the game jump between seasons. It helps give a bit more variety to the environments and prevents them from blending together, which is always nice. However, no one plays The Last of Us to see a ruined toy store. They play it for its story, and the story is really damn good. You follow the aforementioned Joel as he crosses America in order to help the Fireflies, a group who may or may not be violating the Geneva Conventions and may or may not be a terrorist force, in order to find a cure for the disease that has caused the whole apocalypse. Tagging along with him is an 8, 10, 12, 14-year-old named Ellie who is immune to the virus. I don't understand how Ellie is supposedly 14 years old, which, fun fact, is also how old I am. So, let's compare and contrast. Along the way, Joel and Ellie encounter a bunch of characters that either A, die, or B, are never seen again and probably die. There's some real sweet moments between Joel and Ellie, and you get to see the growth between the two. Joel starts off not wanting to talk about his past, which is understandable. There's not many therapists available in the apocalypse, but eventually starts to open up. Ellie also starts off resenting Joel, but through all the traumatic experiences they go through, they start to grow closer. This is where the game truly shines. These intimate conversations between the two really make you care about them, and the final choice Joel makes is the culmination of these interactions. I won't spoil it, but it is a powerful moment and really shows just how far the pair have come, not only literally, but also emotionally. I will say, you could have The Last of Us spoiled and still be able to really enjoy the experience, since there's no insane twist like in the Bioshock games. But it's important to remember that a good story is only half of the picture. The gameplay also matters when making a good game. It's also important for me, since I've currently learned nothing about defending myself from zombies.
I need to be able to craft deadly weapons from household objects at any moment in case the zombies get past my botanical defense.
The Last of Us's gameplay is about crafting deadly weapons from household objects.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The gameplay in The Last of Us is phenomenal and is easily the best part of the game in my opinion. That's not to discredit the story, it's still amazing, but my god, I love the gameplay. You have 3 options when it comes to combat: going in guns blazing, stealthily killing people, and avoiding combat altogether. Your best course of action is and always will be killing people. I mean, you could try and go in guns blazing, just like you could try and rob a bank with a broken Nerf gun. It won't work, but hey, at least you tried. There's multiple reasons for this, and one of them is because The Last of Us has an ingenious system I like to call deception. When you enter listen mode to see what enemies are where, you may think, oh hell yeah, this is easy, I can go in guns blazing and be fine since there's no one else around. But Naughty Dog intentionally made it so there's 3 wimpy ass enemies to deal with, because there are in fact more than 3 wimpy ass enemies to deal with. Much more. You can't hear them or even see them, but they will come running once you kill the initial 3 enemies. Now you may be thinking, I got like what, 9 shotgun shells, a full crowbar, and like 3 health kits? I can handle these guys, I'm smart.
Why are you playing this game? You clearly have no idea what you're doing.
Resources in The Last of Us are few and far between. It's vital you check every area you can in order to try and find as many items as you can. You can craft 6 different things: an upgrade to your melee weapon, which allows for one-hit kills, sheaves, which allow for faster stealth kills but break extremely easily, health kits, which heal you, Molotov cocktails, smoke bombs, and normal bombs. A lot of these items have similar ingredients to craft them. For example, you need rags and alcohol to craft both health kits and Molotovs, which has an interesting layer of strategy, knowing when and where to use what item. Me personally, I always crafted health kits if possible. The Molotovs are nice but decently hard to use well. Now I don't know if these alcohol and rag health kits are effective, but what I do know is that my mom grounded me for trying to recreate one of these using red wine and pillowcases. Another reason why brute force is stupid is because health kits take about 5 seconds to apply, meaning you basically just gave up if you try to heal in the middle of combat. Reloading also takes an excruciatingly long time, meaning your gun is only your last resort when all else fails. Speaking of guns, you get a whole lot of them, and you only ever need 3 of them, and one of them isn't even a gun. The bow is okay until the winter hunt, in which you're basically forced to use it, and then, my god, it's a necessity. Being the only silent ranged weapon means you basically always need to use the bow in some capacity if you don't want to be detected. The human enemies in this game aren't super smart by any means, but they're decently competent compared to some other stealth games. I'm 99.9% sure the enemies in Assassin's Creed Unity don't have a brain at all. At least the humans in The Last of Us are consistently stupid. The more interesting and recognizable enemies, however, are definitely the zombies. There's many types. Sometimes their face has exploded, sometimes their face hasn't, sometimes their whole fucking body has exploded. As for the threat level, they range from dangerous in numbers to dangerous if you lose track of them to fucking run. Encounters with zombies, or as the game likes to call them, infected, are really tense, and the zombies are very unpredictable. Your best bet in these encounters is to try and lure them together using throwable distractions like bottles and bricks, and then taking them out with a shotgun or hand cannon. And if you're facing one of these fuckers, don't even bother trying to fight them unless you're in one of the 2 encounters where you're required to kill them. You really do learn how to adapt and use your brain in combat as the game progresses, which culminates in the last level where stealth is required to pass. However, the trade-off of getting more comfortable with combat encounters means the tension loses a bit of luster. Don't get me wrong, the game is still really tense throughout, but those first 3 hours, man, there's something special, especially in the toppled building section. You still don't have a great grasp on the gameplay in your first playthrough, and while there aren't many actual encounters in the building, you never know what to expect, and the eerie silence bolsters the tension so much.
So that was The Last of Us, or at least the main story. I've learned a lot about how to handle myself if my botanical defense fails, but we may as well check out the Left Behind DLC to see if we can learn anything more. Hi, Future Brit here. It was fucking worthless.
Left Behind is really boring. Half the time is spent walking around with an Ellie who looks even more malnourished than Ellie in the main campaign, and the other half is just Ellie going on a supply run. The more interesting side, I guess, is Ellie right before she realizes she is immune. You get to see Ellie with her best friend Riley, which, I mean, it's fine. There's some neat minigames, but I never found it that interesting. Through this DLC, we also find out Ellie is gay.
Was this necessary?
Ellie was already a likable, if unnecessarily profane character that was interesting to follow. There's no reason for her to be gay since it's never brought up again. It's a classic case of, oh, let's have some representation in a 3-second scene instead of actually trying to represent an oppressed group of people by organically tying it into the story. I highly doubt anyone saw the scene and went,
Mine is kissing! Mine is kissing!
I personally didn't finish Left Behind, mostly because the last level is ridiculously hard. I won't spoil it here, but it's not fun.
Overall, The Last of Us is a really great game, both in terms of gameplay and in story. I wouldn't say it's a perfect game. There was some occasional clunk and some occasional frame drops, but these were very rare. The game was also a great teacher on how to survive in the zombie apocalypse in case my botanical defense ever fails. For example, the best way to heal gunshot wounds with pillowcases and red wine.